Hi guys, so we're going to look at D-Day in this video. Now, in the People in History question last year in 2017, they were asked to write about a soldier landing on the beaches on D-Day. So it's not going to come up in the People in History question, but it could still come up in question 6, section D. So we're going to go over it. D-Day, also known as Operation Overlord, and the date was the 6th of June 1944. So the first question you're going to answer is, so why did D-Day take place? As we saw in the video from Stalingrad, Russia was after turning the tide after Stalingrad, but they'd been demanding a front for years, a second front for years, to be opened up to attack the Germans, to try to take a bit of pressure off the Soviet Union. After the North African campaign, the Allies eventually implemented a plan to invade the beaches of northern France. They called the plan Operation Overlord, and it was led by a guy called General Eisenhower, an American general. So the first big problem they had was this thing called the Atlantic Wall. So Germany had an extensive defences and fortifications along the Atlantic coast, known as the Atlantic Wall. So the Allies attempted to trick the Germans into thinking they were landing at a place called Calais. This was the shortest distance between Britain and France. So they positioned to put soldiers and boats ready to, almost aimed at Calais, to try to get the Germans to concentrate their forces there. And to an extent it worked. But this was a ruse, and on the 6th of July the Allies launched an attack on Normandy and not Calais. So you can see from this map, the green line there shows what the Atlantic Wall was like. So it goes all down the coast of Sweden, Denmark, Belgium, Holland, and down then into France and all the way down to Spain. So on the 5th of June 1944, the Allies launched Operation Overlord, and they planned to land on 5 beaches. So the 5 beaches were Omaha and Utah, where the US soldiers landed, Sword and Gold, where the British troops landed, and Juno, where Canadian troops landed. Here's a little visual. Again, you can see Utah and Omaha was where American soldiers landed, Gold, where the British soldiers landed, Juno, Canadian soldiers, and Sword, again, British soldiers. So, before these troops landed on the beaches, the German defences were bombed by the Allied planes, and then they dropped paratroopers in behind the enemy lines. About 10,000 paratroopers were dropped in behind enemy lines. As the boats were coming in, troops set up these artificial harbours called Mulberry Piers so the tanks could be landed. And they'd also built an underwater pipeline known as Pluto to supply oil. All in all, 156,000 troops were landed on that first day on the beaches of Normandy. And despite the strong resistance from the Germans, the invasion was successful. They did manage to get a foothold. And by the end of June, over 1 million troops had been landed in Normandy. And by August of 1944, Paris had been liberated. So just to give you a quick little recap on some key points there, it was known as Operation Overlord. The D-Day stands for Deliverance Day. Which was not known, but the operation itself was known as Operation Overlord. The guy in charge was General Eisenhower. The distraction at Calais to try to penetrate the Atlantic Wall happened on the 6th of June 1944. They set up these Mulberry Piers, which were these harbours, so that they get tanks onto the beaches. The names of the beaches were Omaha, Utah, Sword, Juno, and Gold. Then they dropped the paratroopers in first. They had an oil supply from the Pluto pipeline. 156,000 troops landed on the first day, 1 million by the end of June, and again Paris was liberated by August.